Good morning from the state of Wisconsin and wherever you're watching us on Gunjur Online TV. I am your host of 𝐆𝐮𝐧𝐣𝐮. I'm thrilled to be back here to discuss all business matters from Gambia to the world. And doing that, we bring people from different areas of our sectors, different economies, different countries. And 𝐵𝐵 has always been keen to bring to light some of the wisdoms and advices, strategies, business conversations about everything. It's a favorite show, and today we are back with another edition of this show, and we're gonna have um, a renowned business guy called Sir Ousman Barrow, aka Sir Oz. Sir Oz is gonna be our guest today for the next hour, and just make sure you send in all your information, all your um, questions, and if you want us to discuss any topic that you think is going to be relevant to the business sector, we will be more than happy to delve into all of that. If we cannot cover everything today, we definitely would be. So we thank you for following us wherever you're watching us from Africa, Asia, Europe, North, South America, and every corner of the world. First, I would want to introduce my guest. That's Sir Ousman Barrow, is the CEO and the founder of Solar Enterprise Gambia, who does not just serve Gambia, but serves communities across the world in the sense that he has customers everywhere. But most importantly, you will get to know more things about Sir Oz other than just the renewable energy, who he is, the mindset of a young business guy who hailed from Gunjur. I'm always very, very selfish to say that first. He's a childhood friend of mine as well. And Sir Oz, welcome to Gunjur Base on Gunjur Online.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Uh, Abubacarr, thank you for having me. And then I would say big thank you to your entire team. And I'm looking forward to have an interesting discussion with you. I'm really grateful for you guys having me here.
Thank you very much for creating time to be with us. Conversations like this are extremely important. I know we talked about so many things behind the scene, but we believe people with great ideas, people who has been in the industries, different industries, it could be anything, needs to use the power of technology to reach out to people across the world. It could be the poorest farmer kid in South Africa. It could be a struggling fisherman's girl in Gunjur. It could be someone in Basse. Bringing those important issues to discuss about, but most importantly, to document some of those issues where people can just come and grab the information. I think that's very relevant. But again, we want to make sure we're very flexible here. We want to make sure it is interactive. So wale atina drum bafala badi ngole Allah hoslom Abubacarr Jammeh in a childhood friend, a business guy from Gunjur and Gambia. Mi alongo a wuluda business o konole bari wo matina la kuol tata ibe wiri wata ka futebe damin dobi. Mbela fila ka alon dron kuloringol minu be kuolto business ola kuolto ate fana abe yama ro min sudo lambadingol ye especially dindingolu dunia karobela ka jibe ko isekeno na manke banku dinkende ya da madi bari se fango na fa no nya dile family na fa hanni tol fada generationally dingoli mamaringoli sol fana na fa no nya dile. So wale atina ro nying kachal min be ko nyin sifal ka hana manke business o fongo dammal bar balu wala karola ese balu kendo sudo no nyaadi le o dipentale balu sifa jamale balu ni obe kono so wale atina ro badi manga ol samananjang Usman Barrow mo jama ka fa sa os ate multi minialon ko abonta gunju bari ay company store mi alon ko aka sola min ka kurango mi yaron ko akabo tilole bala wala kabondi hit bala wala fanno be wala to par ku jamal bi jembe minu kachala bi tilola ndesa osmbe bisimla la nyim programme to bi so we can say move no len kamani kan fo do jenga angale kan fo depending on the topic jamale fokan nga feel nyaadi le ko abe mo jamal le nafala at what time. So sa os be similar la nyim program oto ko deke iman ke lundan tijan bari ngalon ko ngesto sanji dandan koma pour ni nga kaja. So han saindro o mo sifa an kala fike murundina ngujur online pour ka diamu business wala karola ani yiri wala karola na banko do ani be daw dado.
All right. Well, Abubacarr, like I said, thank you for having me. When it comes to business, there are a lot of things that you must consider before you get into business.
Mhm.
And the type of business that you are going to do is very important, and whether you have the skill set to do those businesses. What I realized with my almost 20 years in business is there's this thing called herd mentality or
Mhm.
bandwagon effect. And bandwagon effect, what I mean is there are a lot of people who have, like, I will not say zero ideas, but they lack ideas of what to do um, when it comes to business as a venture. But because Abubakar is selling raw groundnut, they will also, and he succeeded in selling raw groundnut, they will jump into it and sell raw groundnut without knowing what Abubakar really went through or what he acquired as a skill to venture into raw groundnut business or raw groundnut vendor or whatever. So, so many people have, let's say, started businesses within a year or two. Some of them not up to a year, they fail woefully because they have not acquired the right skill. They don't have the know-how to do these businesses. But because of the bandwagon effect and the herd mentality, because Abubakar succeeded in it, they also venture into it.
Right.
So in our Gambia context, this has been a major contributing factor of most entrepreneurs. Most entrepreneurs, how they fail
Right.
because of this bandwagon effect. So nkamin for wala nginti. Mojama bije niye multi business ola and
Mhm.
business on ye wati.
Mhm.
Eje e bungolo moto balba borondila, ikaje ko dal okay kare nyinke nimfana yake mfana sa moto ba borondilo onga bumballo.
Right.
Bari nyin kare mimba nyinke kam itama long aya kuma sinyadile.
Mhm.
O mina bala nyato ta koma. I mean long wanin jamal la ka doko ke.
Mhm.
O biso kata nyadile a samba nyadile fa o kolbe sotono.
Yeah.
Ite ngaji because
Mhm.
ni kare succeed tajel. Ni mojama bije business sector jama ba bije mojama ka fail because ni kan ne fail da.
Mhm.
Because follow imang idea soto o imang business o nyina sort of alondo soto.
Mhm.
Pour ka dungo biso nyin kono ba katun ko karna dunta je o succeed telefon dunta je. So hatina it failed because ni min famo yalon ka ba kan succeed je
Mhm.
ima nyinin ka yanyin keno nyaadi le. It will just idunta jail room because maybe you're calling this sort of karala or more you call the because sometimes one ke kuman le ka fo yoko lafta business or start la.
Yeah.
Ni ko yoko lafta mun business sifa sa fo business kare lafta wala start la.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, nyini mi yalon ke ka fo yoko lafta business or start la. Nka koronto fana pour molian recognize molian sute ko karlo nyinta ka nyinnewa
Yeah.
andung aya fonga na fajele. So come in just to give you few. I mean, there's a lot of contributing factors, but just to mention this because this is very important. Um, I know a lot of people that have approached me individually. I
Yeah.
mean that they they are interested in doing this or they are interested in doing this kind of business. But when you ask them what is your long term goal, what's your short term goal, they don't have any. The only focus is Mr. So succeeded in it and I want to do it.
Yeah.
So the bandwagon effect is actually causing us a lot of problems, or is causing a lot of failures, or is rendering a lot of businesses unsuccessful.
Yeah.
So people need to look into that before you jump into anything. Before you start doing any business,
Mhm.
what I always tell myself is start small, think in the long term.
Right.
Start small in the sense you can do any business.
Yeah.
You can do any business, but start small, and with time you scale gradually.
Yeah. So,
Well,
so before going further, I think this is just extremely relevant.
mhm,
Ikamin for den akumaya tabake. I know
mhm,
kong ngin diamule many times,
right.
but that's the reason why be mbinakanja.
Mhm,
Um, I have a follow up question to that. But before we go further, I want to make sure na molminube lamoikan. I want people to understand that if there is anything that you want to take out of today's conversation, there will be three key things. We will try to discuss about how to diversify in a business. That's one of the topics that we intend to exhaust today. If we cannot, we will come back to it. Another important discussion we would want to have during this program would be how the business opportunities in Gambia. Sometimes it's not just in Gambia, but wherever you're living at. You just don't always have to run a business in Gambia. If you are there and there is a business opportunity there, run it there. But just to have that business mindset wherever you at, it's very important because you can always start something. You are not resting until you achieve your dreams. So this diversification, in that sense, what I mean is how you are able to reinvent yourself after developing your core business. How you're able to diversify into other areas. So that's one. Two is business opportunities. We'll try to discuss those here, and the final one would be how to build um, a continual business, not a business that is self-centered, but a holistic business, a functional business that even if you die, there is a continuation. The likes of Walmart, the likes of Amazon, the likes of every kind of business that's been successful and it's been here for so long. But before we go to those, I have other questions on that. So I want to go back and follow up to what you've been saying. I did work in the financial sector back in the Gambia for over 9 years. And I agree exactly what you were saying. Well, just a quick example of that is a teacher who earns $1,200 and I loaned her for $50,000. I a project or kundo project on Yimambang. You pay that loan for next 5 years, paying interest on that loan. Just the fact that you are building a house, but it's not generating you anything. So you pay that loan for 6 years with the interest, which is usually used to be about 20 to 23% so every $100 you're paying about 123 you're paying back to the bank. So looking at that, that's not generating anything, but you don't have any income that is reproducing the revenue for you to pay that back. And that stock, you're not having income. That also just entail to us. I also did talk to people about, say, money transfer business and all of that stuff. Those are things that are not going to be relevant in the future because of the advent of technology. So just seeing all the corner stores have money transfer like Western Union and all of the other ones, it's something that you have to think about diversifying in different areas because at some point people are not going to have no need to transfer money. They're flying every day or technology is going to bring things together. But just a follow up to that is there are two areas that I have questions on. Like, yeah, I mentioned ko not because molbe ni don keka inyanta ka wale kela, or you are not good at something inyanta okay. I think always there is a debate on this. Do you think inyanta fenne kela mi alonko you have a skill you are good at? Because you could be good at stuff that you don't like doing, or you have to do something that you like. I'm not sure what's your concept on that. Do you believe
okay.
that okay, I have money and I
Mhm.
like selling solar panels, or I am a really really good plumber guy. I'm gonna invest in plumbing even if I don't love it, but then I can do something that I like after I establish this.
Okay. Well, like I gave an example of a groundnut seller, and I made you a groundnut seller. Okay.
Yeah,
Like you are selling a raw groundnut.
right,
If I am interested in doing groundnut selling,
right,
what I would recommend. as someone who has been in the business industry for 20 years, what I would recommend, instead of you selling let's say I choose to do it because Abubacarr is doing it. What you will do is you roast the groundnut, package it attractively,
Hmm.
and sell it.
Correct.
So you are adding value. You are not doing what Abubacarr is doing. You are doing something that is unique and that is more attractive. So you are adding value to the product.
Right.
But you don't have to do what Abubacarr does necessarily. So this is the problem that we have. This is the bandwagon effect that we have.
Hmm.
Abubakar is selling raw groundnut, and Sir Ousman said, "Okay, I'm also going to sell raw groundnut because Abubakar succeeded in it." This is the problem that we have for the longest time. And like you gave an example of a teacher like taking a loan and then building a house and all that. Because um, people, I think another problem is people lack financial literacy.
Hmm.
That is a major problem we have in our community. People are only interested in the numbers, just the numbers. I have $1 million. I have this amount of money. I have this amount of money. They are only interested in the numbers.
Right.
But invariably, people are not instead interested in sustainability, and that's what take you from A to B.
Right.
Talked about diversification.
Hmm. Which we will come to, though.
Okay. Let me
Which
not
we
talk
will
about that.
come to.
Okay. We'll come to that later.
Yeah.
So basically, sometimes, I mean, in our part of the world, like people see certain route of seeking knowledge as a
Hmm.
way of, as a way of not very important, but
Yeah.
they do not know it is very important until you lead yourself to self-destruct.
Correct.
Because let's say you are a finance guy, right? I am an energy guy. When it comes to finances, only the basics is what I know, right? When I need a very important financial advice, I should seek counsel, and you are the right person to talk to. So people also should take it upon themselves to reach out to the people with the expertise and ask questions so that you will have an idea what to do. But you just don't because you have the money or you have a connection that gives you money. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this. At the end of the day, you did not do the due diligence that will lead you to a self-destruct or a financial calamity.
I mean, I agree with you 110%.
Yeah.
I think these are sometimes it's just not about everything. So
Mhm.
I am extremely passionate about education. I cannot just do a program without bringing that. So I'm just so thrilled that you brought that educational aspect of things, how you educate yourself about
Right.
things.
Hmm.
We, most of us are Muslims, and but the first thing is that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad was like Iqra. It
Uh,
says,
hmm.
I'm Ma'anabi and I don't know how to read.
Right.
And then it was repeated to him several times to
Hmm.
say that Ikra, read, Ikra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq,
Yeah.
read. And then, just saying that even our religion tells us our ways of life.
Hmm.
It teaches us, if you put in research, you realize that it teaches us everything about our life. It's not just go fast 1 month, pray 5 daily prayers, greet people when you're passing, you take out charity and all of those things. Those are all pillars, but our way of living is so important. And then that makes education so close to my heart because I know how important it is. I know I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't go to school. But also just not going to school, but how you're able to apply what you learned from school, not textbook application theoretically, but
Just so,
how
just
you use the power of your mind, to create things. I'm sure you never read a single book when you
I
were going
just,
to Heritage
I,
High School.
yeah, I just want
You
to add
never read
something
a
to the
single.
school. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just want to add something to the school thing. Sometimes
yeah,
it's not just going to the school and have
correct.
all the degrees or whatever.
Yeah,
Most of the time, it's not actually like that.
yeah,
That's not how it works, right? When
yeah,
it comes to the energy sector, I
mhm,
started as an apprentice.
correct.
I didn't go to a formal setting.
You educated yourself in it.
Exactly. I started as an apprentice.
Yeah.
But guess what? When I started coming to North America, I realized that, when you come here, whatever you know out there is not important.
Right.
They will tell you put in the trash, right? So when I came to North America, I now went to a formal setting of educating myself with sustainable energy technology.
Correct.
It's here I went to school to do it, but I didn't do it. What I did was business management. I was going to be a banker like you.
Yeah, but again, one thing about that too, though, is I think to your point, people really misinterpret education. It's just not about sitting in a classroom.
Yeah.
It's about knowing how to educate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like me and you went to Arabic school when we were
Yeah.
a kid. We were in the
Yes.
same school,
Mm-hmm.
right? We
Mm-hmm.
all went there, and you left us, and then just ran away.
Yeah.
I'm kidding about that, but we went to same school.
Right.
We all started that as kids.
Yes.
And no one ever taught me how to read Quran from the entirety of it.
Mm-hmm.
They taught me how to read it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go when you went to high school in Armitage, you were in a boarding school.
All
I'm not
right.
sure if
Yes.
you were stubborn why they sent you there, but that's a discussion for another day. But I'll ask my uncle about that, your dad. But yeah, just going back to the relevance of it,
Yeah.
you go to school to build the skills, to be able to educate yourself,
Yeah.
to build academic mindset that helps you to research,
Mm-hmm.
to navigate the
Yeah.
world, to understand how to minimize risk, to
Yeah.
understand how to put things together.
Yeah.
But most importantly, to build resilience and
Mm-hmm.
also discipline in you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you never saw a single textbook when you were going to high school in Armitage. And now you're sitting here, a
Yeah.
successful guy in that.
Mm-hmm.
You did not sit back and say, hey, I was successful in this sector.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go and get any formal education.
Yeah.
So many things are just mindset based and textbook based.
Yeah.
I have a cousin who I believe he resigned from his official job. He is now a very successful farmer in Gunjur.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Johnny, I believe he is following us. But so that's so relevant, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. But
Oh,
again,
yeah.
back to education.
Mm-hmm.
How many of our kids back in the day you remember? I just always want to bring us back to our childhood days.
Yeah.
We
So,
miss our
yeah.
childhood days.
Yeah. That's like you putting it. Like it's very it's very pivotal. Like we all try to not just to go through a formal setting, but
Right.
as my dad didn't go through any formal setting as far as education is
Correct.
concerned. But I discovered that is one of the um, smartest people on earth. This is not because he's my father,
Yep.
because what he's able to taught me as not just because my father and I were like partners. You
Yeah.
know, the father son relationship could be at another level, but most of the time we're like business partners because we do a lot of ventures together.
Hmm.
He will have business ideas and share with me.
Yeah.
And he will ask me if you have the resources, bring it, and then we do it. And
Yeah.
9 out of 10, we are always successful. So, and he did not go through a formal setting, but
Correct.
experience too, like they said, experience is the father of all teachers. He got wealth of experience when it comes to business, and this is across the board. It's not just one sector. It's
Correct.
across the board because he does general trading.
Yeah.
So he so many times, maybe not so many people know this. I would seek advice from him
Hmm.
in connection to my own dealings, my contracts, and all that.
And
Um,
then just to breach on that,
yeah,
Saos, I really wanted to because there is a question that was coming up, so I would allow you to connect both.
yeah,
Just talking about your father, I was
mhm,
going to have a question that's saying your what inspirations. If anyone who is watching us and you don't know his dad, if you're not from Gunjur, his dad is one of the. I mean, I was born; he was a businessman. Anyway, me and Saos all grew up at the same time in Gunjur, but he's a guy who he's a tailor,
mhm,
but runs a multi-functional business, if you
right,
like.
yeah,
Um, but obviously inspirations from your dad are just extremely important. But I also wanted to connect this to our diversification question, where
Yeah.
growing up, your dad was a tailor. I
Hmm.
remember picking up my uniforms,
Yeah.
my mom sent to
Hmm.
him to fix it.
Right.
But few things that you realize is whenever it's the opening time, you go there. If his shop opens at 8 a.m., you go there 8 a.m., he's gonna be there.
Yeah.
If it closes at 7 p.m.,
Hmm.
you go there 7:10, he won't be there.
Hmm.
That's absolute discipline that he never read in any books, but has the discipline, um, the willingness, and
Hmm.
also the business mindset to understand
Hmm.
that sustainability comes with so many different principles.
Right.
In addition to that, you will see that when you go there to sew your uniform,
Hmm.
he will show it for you.
Hmm.
He train other people to do that.
Right.
He diversify into different areas. He will have a poblino wafilale and then borol bitarala jele. If you need other decorations on your
Hmm.
outfit, he will do that and many other things.
Right.
Until today,
Yeah.
you've already been in business 20 years now, which is
Yeah.
crazy to think
He's
about.
he's
I
he's
feel so
close.
old right now.
He's close to 50 in business.
Exactly. So
He's close to 50
imagine
in business.
since then, he
Mhm.
must be doing something right to make sure that he is still as relevant as ever, to understand that the business changes and you have to change with business, the modern stuffs that are coming in. So, what is the inspiration? What lessons have you learned in connection to reinventing yourself, understanding that, okay, I'm gonna do this business, it's my core business. In that I mean that what business people know you with. So whatever you do next, people have faith in you. They'll understand he's gonna be successful, or he's a good guy, or he is an incredible person who is gonna run this perfectly. Um, what lessons, what are the inspirations you derive from that in connection to how he was able to reinvent yourself that you're using today, understanding that, all right, I did solar for 20 years, maybe a lot of players in the solar system now. What can I do to stay relevant?
Exactly. So, uh, what can you do to keep yourself afloat?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. So, passive income is one of the things that you look into.
Hmm.
I used to. I mean, everybody. I'm known for a solar guy to be a solar guy, right?
Right. Right.
And like you said, and like how we started, the herd mentality, the bandwagon effect. I now said, you know what? I can do electronics,
Correct.
but I do electronics on wholesale basis.
Hmm.
So it's another way of
Venture.
diversifying.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Because I used to be that guy that used to think, you know what? Real estate is a good business,
Hmm.
but I'm so fixated on um, instant profit. I
Right.
was not so keen into real estate,
Hmm.
but and with time, like talking to my old man, for instance,
Yeah.
and some other people that are already in business and they are into real estate and everything, they are like, you cannot go wrong when it comes to real estate. We know
Right.
this is your business model, but
Yeah.
you can also get into real estate even if you're going to start in a small scale. But
Hmm.
guess what? When I got into real estate, I realized that, man, this is long overdue.
Correct.
I've started this way back.
But again, that did not kick you out away
No,
from your
no,
core
no. I
business.
stay on
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Solar is still the major and everything related to solar. But real estate, I don't like I told you, if somebody's selling raw groundnut, you
Yeah.
do you roast it and package it attractively and sell it,
Correct.
adding value. So I don't do what other real estate investors does. No. Me, I am a majorly into property management. That's what I do. So that is like a passive income for me right now.
Hmm.
I do property development
Yeah.
and then rent them out, make some money. So my diversification is solar is the main, electronics, and not only an IT material. Then real estate. So
Yeah.
this is how I diversify. I will give you a brief history about that.
Hmm.
That started as a tailor.
Correct.
When he realized that there are demands for tailoring materials,
Right.
there are other tailors could be Gambian and non-Gambians.
Right.
He now tweaked to meet up the demands of other tailoring materials like textile,
Yeah.
oil, like you said, poplin and all the other stuff that he used to sell.
And to jump into that, obviously Gunjur is a very diverse community.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people from all over the world, like
Mhm.
a lot of Senegalese been living there, have
Yeah.
kids there. They became Gunjurians. And,
Yeah.
the concept of fashion and all of those things, and the oil, like you mentioned, the fishing stuff. And, but again, yeah, those are very, very relevant points that I agree
So
with my
so
brother.
he diversified into transportation,
Right.
into selling car spare parts,
Hmm.
of course, tailoring materials, and
Right.
real estate.
Yeah.
He's doing all this.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, he's doing all this. But these are things that people do not know. But he's doing all this because he used to tell me, "Banko man nyonsoto.
Yeah.
Ni kela kolo dunu bankoto.
Hmm.
Imanta nimise soto laje." And as time goes on, tango jele. Ayeng atefango blado people mol bina kanano kane kafuni ko lafte ina bla kan san kafo no manta san. But not I understand ko lafta ngasa kafuni asan. Ni manta je kala fendi. Asang ya wafiku. And all the time that Akonga in Sange Wafiku, in a certain amount of time, the profit that will rack up from those properties.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
And then, just to buttress on what you just said,
Yeah,
when we moved to Bruceby, I believe this was 2002,
yeah.
it was pretty much empty.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. That time,
I
yeah.
went I went to work at one of the banks.
Mhm.
And few of us, I mean, I met people there that were offered a free land or next to nothing at Bruceby. They just never took it. They thought that was Womulo Konolte.
Yeah.
Eventually, another estate came up. I remember folks buying that for just $100,000. That's
Mhm.
worth 500,000 now.
Right.
But again, regardless of wherever you are in the world,
Did you say 500,000 now?
I mean, not Bruceby. I mean, another real estate. I'm sure we bought that
No,
for
no. You cannot have and you cannot have a plot in Bruceby for less
no,
than one point
no.
five million.
No, I don't mean Bruceby. I said there
Okay,
was another real estate that
okay,
came up,
okay.
and
All
people
right.
bought. Yeah, people bought it for about 100,000, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah. Then okay.
it's over 500,000 now.
Okay.
It's in Tujen and somewhere, but
Right. Okay.
I'm just trying to catch the value of things.
Yeah.
Obviously it's long term, and
Mhm.
again, that might be the bread and butter for everyone, which
Oh yeah.
I understand. You probably
Yeah.
gotta get to a certain level in your
Mhm.
life or in your business career, because someone with a capital of 50,000, you're not gonna tell them
Yeah.
to buy a property. How are
Yeah.
they gonna develop it, right?
Yeah.
Now you might want to start, just going back to what you first said, start
Mhm.
small,
Yeah.
grow up,
And then you scale it
understanding.
gradually.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I believe that understanding, just for the sake of conversation, understanding where you are at
Mhm.
in your life is very, very crucial. We
Mhm.
are talking here. I nearly uh, had a panic attack when you said you've been in business for 20
Oh
years.
yes. Oh
Tells
yes.
me how
Oh yes.
old we are now.
Oh yeah.
But, but a kid in Gunju will be like, yo, they only see the end product. A kid in Sanyang, a kid in Basse will see just the end product and say,
Yeah.
man,
Mhm.
this guy's doing great. In
And
our
and
minds, we are not.
let me now that you mentioned the number of years I've been in business, let me just say this.
Mhm.
The young adults of nowadays are so much in a hurry to be recognized
Absolutely.
and to succeed.
That's what I mean. Like they only see the end result.
Yeah, they want to get rich overnight, and it doesn't work like that.
And so this is one of the reasons why this program was established.
Hmm.
Um, One of the reasons this program was established is to bring folks like you,
Yeah.
that have trekked that route and
Hmm.
understand what it takes. Understanding that just don't look at the end product.
Yeah.
That as a person who wants to do something meaningful, there
Hmm.
isn't going to be any shortcuts. If
Hmm.
you're making shortcuts, better understand what you're doing. And understanding what you're doing means you are educated, experience wise and practical wise,
Hmm.
that you're educated about certain things before you make shortcuts. Don't
Yeah.
look at someone's life to feel like you're gonna we all gonna get to places different times,
Right.
different rate, and
Hmm.
using different channels. So
Hmm.
I cannot emphasize enough how important I believe having conversations like this, it's key for our younger people.
Hmm.
It breaks your heart. The other time I watched on Gunjur online, this girl, did a video on this migration,
Yeah.
taking the back way. I'm extremely passionate about it. I
Hmm.
feel like crying each time I think about it.
Hmm.
I question myself, what can I do? What shouldn't should I should have done
Hmm.
as playing my part
Hmm.
to let these people understand that yes, you can travel, go anywhere in the world, live your life, do it the right way, go to school first, be prepared for the challenges that lies ahead. It just abroad is not everything.
Hmm.
Go there, educate yourself, work, get into business,
Hmm.
learn skills. I know, I'm sure we're going to talk about all these stuffs. I'm absolutely passionate about some of those things, but just going back to your conversation, because each time a question rises, they're like, oh, they sit in America or in North America, Canada, Europe, and they're telling us to make it here and all of that. There's a huge debate on what you think is right, but we cannot advise anybody what is right for them. They have
Yeah.
to understand their level in life. What can you afford? What kind of business? What's the capital? But just don't sit and wait for it. Go and find it every morning. Wake up early in the morning, dress up, be ready for it, be prepared. If opportunity comes, you take advantage of it. Without going further, I just wanted to go to our second question
Hmm.
on the opportunities.
Yeah.
Um, Not looking at SAOs as a CEO level of opportunities, what you might grab right
Hmm.
now. My goal is for the grassroots folks that did not go to school, or they just end up at grade 9 or grade 10, or they graduated high school. And in fact, folks that just been to tertiary schools or university and they're just sitting there. You don't have, again, I want to make sure I give props to our young people. The amount of entrepreneurship stuff. I know Jammeh mentioned about this, our background conversation, how now kids are using technology and they're getting into farming, they're getting into poultry farming and all this crop farming and all of that.
Hmm.
And for someone with very little or no income, what are some of the things you think are available out there that, just few of them that you think could be a starting point for someone who wants to get into business?
Yeah. I feel like there are opportunities,
Correct.
but one have to be like one need the courage
Hmm.
and the tenacity
Correct.
to grab those opportunities or to succeed in those opportunities. Because like you mentioned farming, I was happy to see young farmers in Gunjur. I mean, we know all those boys. They are doing good for themselves. Right now they are self-employed. They own their farm. They own their farms,
Yeah.
and their produce are like coming on regular basis, and they are making good money out of it. Money that you cannot make in an office.
Yeah.
So when it comes to skill acquisition, things like um, electricity, like electrician, plumbing,
Yeah.
welding, yeah. I mean, most people either they know or they do not know. These are areas that, or these are skills that can make you self-employed. One,
Mhm.
two, you can earn a decent amount of money in a
Yeah.
short amount of time.
I mean, I remember that was the whole reason why GTTI was established,
Yeah.
right? There
Mm,
was no university back then. I remember my brother Noah, who lives in the UK now,
mm.
went to GTTI. He probably know how to do everything. Either
Exactly. Exactly. Like,
that was their whole
we live in
trade.
this, we live in this part of the world. I
Yeah.
mean, getting a handyman to come fix whatever in your house
Oh
sometimes you
my
say no.
goodness.
You know how
Oh,
much it costs you to get a handyman to come and fix whatever? No, you do literally everything by yourself, because if you don't, your pocket will be bleeding.
oh, absolutely. Oh,
So
people buy cars here and they want to send it to Gambia. There are problems on those vehicles. Instead of fixing it here, you just ship it like that just to fix it there because it's going to cost you a fortune to do it
right.
here.
I will tell you what I know, right? I know plumbers who own houses in
Yeah,
Gambia, electricians the same thing,
yeah.
mechanics. They own decent homes for themselves. Don't see them looking all that whatever under a car. These
But
guys,
also,
they live well,
also
because
that's
because of their skill set, because their job is required every day. So a lot of folks are interested in the white collar jobs,
mhm.
and white collar jobs don't pay decent these days. They don't pay well. But if
I,
you acquire these skills, you
I
can make your
agree.
own money. You don't have to depend on a boss or nobody. This is what these people need to understand. What, what,
So
what-
I
let me grab my charger 1 second.
absolutely. So I'll go ahead, Jammeh, if you can put me on full screen. Um, if my yep, thank you. I, what I was just saying is just extremely important. I have so that's the major difference between people that takes their craft or their skills seriously and those that did not. I'm sure every one of you guys watching have had an experience with a skilled person, either a contractor in plumbing, electrician, um, carpenters, or builders that you are not really happy about. That you keep saying, "Oh, XYZ, XYZ," but the reality is, so many people just does not take their trades seriously. They are not organized. They are not consistent. They don't just really follow it. That's the major difference between people that takes the trade seriously and those that did not. Those that did take their trade seriously, they're gonna get good referrals. They're gonna get good feedbacks from people. They're always gonna have business. There is always someone out there who wants to give a job to somebody, but they don't have a reliable person. Almost a single problem that everyone, especially those that lived in diaspora and who lives in Gambia, the single problem is how to have a reliable person who runs your project for you. I have seen contractors now getting people from Senegal because their delivery is faster. They get them from Senegal, give them housing, and they will just go and do their buildings for them. Within a week, they finish one stage. Within another week, they finish another stage and they go around. It's just so the mindset is just the differential factor here where if you are serious about your business, you absolutely can make it because there is market for it. People have money that they want to spend. They just want to give it to the right person. How many of you guys out there that build houses not built by one single person, but because somebody did the foundation and they mess it up or they never showed up again, or you are tired of chasing them around only to give it to another person? How many of you have gotten projects that are, stuck at one level? It cannot move because the reliability. So, what I was saying is that also tells us how people that takes their trade seriously and those that did not. Because in as much as you mentioned about other contractors living a very good life, build their own houses and all of that stuff. There are also hundreds, if not thousands, of similar people out there that still don't have a butut in their pocket. They it's just because they're disorganized, they're just not consistent. You give them a project, they don't follow through.
Yeah.
How many of us, even when we were a kid, saying, "Oh, career no law," the things like that. But again, before I go to our next question, I really wanted to recognize our followers here. Jammeh, if you put a couple of posts on the screen, I would want to make sure that we give a shout out to our followers. People following from Abubacarr Sao, one of the entrepreneurs that it's just so impressive. This dude, we went to Arabic school together. He went and study abroad, came back home. He teaches. Last time I was in Gambia was in January. He is running a good business. When it's Tabaski, he goes and buy a bunch of Sajil and I waffles. So if you're watching and if he is doing it, I want you to know this one person who I patronize him at least twice for the past 2 years, he just goes with the flow. He goes and teach because he's been to school, he's been to university and graduated from Malaysia and came back home with a master's degree, I believe. I've been teaching Kekane still in Gunjur. I remember he started a business. He opened a shop, and I went to Gunjur. He even have a bigger shop next to Na Family Cordato. He's a building or supposed to Jarakundaka building materials. So if you're watching, patronize this guy. He is one of the best guys that I've seen that came from nothing. It was not his academic excellence. It's about his mindset. How he could change his life for better. And then one Fatima Jana says that's why we are struggling to have a skill center in Gunjur where we have all different skills to develop our young generation. These are all conversations that we're going to continue to bring up. Abrahman Toure, one of the guys that I have absolute respect for, went and got educated in different parts of the world. We both went to the Arabic school together. It says, this is very interesting seeing my village mates. We're not village no more, brother. You call us town now, at least. Village mates narrating their success stories. Fatima says, keep inspiring Mr. Sir Ousman Barrow. We appreciate all of you guys. Yusufa says, Yusufa Toure in Lexington, Kentucky says, please tell Sir Ousman one of his happy customers.
Oh,
Commodores. He is AKA Commodores. And then Kadifai, they're all watching. Abu Hafsa, one of my cousins, and another success story. Again. So I would say, Yakuba Manjan says, greetings, guys. This is absolutely good. It will serve as an inspiration to the youngsters who wants to venture into business. Thanks, Yanks. So many folks here. Omar added some sense to that, says consistency, understanding the customer needs and the market trend is
yeah,
key to the success of any business.
true.
Great, Omar. AJ, these guys, I would want to bring more people here because they have a lot of stories to tell. I'm just going to do a quick roundup of some of these prolific people. Commodores is a childhood friend of my big brother boy, and then obviously got a lot of inspiration. Runs financial service business and all of that stuff. So if you
And
guys
Commodos is my marketing manager in US.
correct, so that's a great thing, and he would never put himself in that position to be an advocate for your business if you never gave him a quality and good and timely business.
Yeah.
So again, these things pays off. Whoever wants the services that you've given him,
Yeah.
right? Going down to Omar, I know the stories of so many great folks from Gunjur. All right, when you talk about Gunjur, you're talking about prolific people. You're talking about educated people. You're talking about resilient people. You're talking about fishermen who made it. You're talking about tellers who made it in life. You're talking about a young kid that went to Arabic school. The only job you could have gotten was just to become an Arabic teacher. and then they just reinvented themselves with the mindset, the right mindset, and fight to get what you deserve in life,
No, just to
get you ahead.
add to what you're saying, but you know,
Huh.
I am contanda back at the covering funding ke jama ba funding ke jama mi alon ko be fan sun ko la.
Yeah.
Because nte nin customer dol ka deal fa ka fo Allah gunjun ka kar wala nyin kenye ja.
In Kenya. Yeah.
So ni anytime nga wo moyo wo fo nyerek, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Anu nga funding ke jama la mi alon ko iba into agriculture. And that's good because Ntole because mwalo fo yam fatan da kitel la ba nim bindir wala nan silata wala nan silata to venture into agriculture ba malo because you nkola udiaro mi baby ya beleta I don't know you understand so you don't
Man,
know
for call the other, but they come and they are follow this.
fortunately for these other ones maybe to man tanda kitel ke back man bindir send the back
Is their
and
turn.
then of course most of these folks near uncle they are into agriculture like young guys they are all educated they all have the basic education. You
Yeah.
understand? But they know it is important because farming, people shifted away from farming for a minute. But
Yeah.
you see the trend now, people are going back to it. Because more like
Hmm.
farming can actually give you not only financial freedom,
Yeah.
but it's gonna give you a healthy life and a sustainable life. So all the people are actually are venturing into it. Yeah, or they
Hmm.
are going into it. Yeah,
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important. And the other thing for another coming for all of skills thing.
Yeah.
Way Molka, the way some of our guys are going to welding, because man, I know personally how much money nka na welder man or me and was working on the maintain and like di wala to do some welding jobs for me.
Hmm.
And whatever money that I give him goes into his pocket. So my electricians, my plumbers, you understand? I know how much money these guys make.
Yeah.
There are so many people in fucking in let's say fancy government jobs. They're not making that kind of money.
I always joke to my friends when I was working in the bank. I was like, if it is not for certain circumstances, maybe be ninga taxi sudo full taxi nga nektaya landi. Nse money make no lamina because obviously nibe doko wala banks nyol dani financial institutional ikalo ne kodol be dami to akadundani. But ngalon ko mo jamal jemi alon ko ni ya muta seriously ye fansu motos to somande ka wuli kata ka doko again all of the day can is a more kodo make no le. Um, than Dolbe me make them. But again, kudos to the young people. Yeah, you mean for no? I think I wanted to add to that. Wong Amira is a combination of so many different things. Come saying younger people
Mhm.
understanding core. It's actually fashion. Follow ni mo kata kunko do bindela. Ibi kala bila ela sungu ni ol minu fon be kara kenda wala yeje.
Well, yeah.
Um,
No, really, yeah, I
even
know.
basing all cool and all that. But
Yeah.
I think it's just not our fault that mandara interest kangala. I believe it's just always the shift in so many different things. Now I'm a shift lum because now technology be carrying it. People are seeing Asian old camino like how that is changing their lives. But I think another big thing is Tamo. Usually you are more eager to travel Janika travel. But ni travel, they can make nyami nga ke fasi wala nyama. Ila mind ka muron suo konol. And ila childhood friend or any lose contact with you regroup because that's who you are. But also working in island like I understand go, oh, ni ko tiwabo follow. I remember ni be lari ka fuele go hike la ko tiwabo. Tiwabo be dinka singole be
Oh yes. Oh,
agrepen go wol ka do
24/7.
kom foken to go.
24/7.
So namira wofana kumpo ka tinale tamu ya tina mo jama nyaile ka understand because sometimes don't I mean from a miracle wolom balu kendo di wofo manke balu kendo di
Right.
to be successful and all of that. Follow
Mhm.
ya remember ni ikono wara de ka fuele go is a sign of good living. I
Yeah.
remember one of my friends saying that.
Mhm.
Um but then what for my health is so there are so many things more than discuss and then
And,
again
and 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 the other thing, just to add to because it's important. It's important with the discussion around
yeah
the young adults, many along like they are watching right now, or they'll probably watch later. It's important they know what
yeah
is actually going on because some of these people they are not privy to some of these things in community for that. Or maybe
yeah
if they are not taking it seriously. Maybe it's not coming from you, or maybe it's not coming from me. So left time in for a while, uncle. I know taxi drivers. I
Yeah.
know a cousin me is a taxi driver. Be about function kodra kono.
Yeah.
I allow a massive building me along I allow from the taxi business.
Mm-hmm.
So sign a dependent mari le bala. How
Yeah.
serious are you about what you do?
Yeah.
And mamim follow young adults only, or I mean potential entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Ali kalabantea bala kurokon.
Yeah.
Nila to succeed in business kalabantea o bondiji. Ne kalabantea boilo kuokono. Pure
Mm-hmm.
succeed is easy because people don't know how powerful a word of a mouth is. Nimmo kili yelo kuma kendofo. Ima long how far that thing will go and how that can make you or unmake you. So it's
Yeah.
important people really many alonko they aspire to be business people
Mm-hmm.
anywhere, any sector, plumbing or welding or whatever. Isa
Mm-hmm.
kata bake ikatonyafo and you're honest. So ko ila customer inimi alonko ka deal because nike tili la customer
Mm-hmm.
ningala sonta ike tili la customer ni are consistent ila do ko ka better
Mm-hmm.
or do ko better sustainer for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But we get tilling, always like you can assume for to have people to rely on to build houses and all the other stuff you come in for. You know me
Mm-hmm.
I ko ka bungo low molly e ka do ko ke mo come molly amo ko mechi tiola mo ani bibe la mechi la bar ani bin ka ko fente bulu. Ni la ko cross back.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them have been disingenuous for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Or atina because if you get to atina it doesn't mean to le maso no. So ke tili molly because the most of these business people, me and uncle, they have succeeded in doing businesses. Near DB,
Mm-hmm.
is society a problem alone? They know because something is lacking,
Yeah.
and they told you they step in and then they make sure that they make sure it's available.
But
And
again, though, because Ibe will point into, I think that is very important. I
right,
want you to hammer more on that because
mhm,
one more minute successful, the more it only I feel there is a void that
yeah,
they can feel. Ni
yeah,
is successful that usually either kawalke moja already
uh,
or ibulole jada
huh,
unreasonable or
yeah,
arrogant or whatever they want to do. It is just because they want to play by the rules that makes
yeah,
business people successful.
hmm,
They brand them. But again,
yeah,
that's fine. People
yeah.
think whatever they want to think of,
Oh
but
yes.
you're giving quality. So go ahead. Sorry.
So abakumala bakela momo bela business okela. Ya make sure ye tilling
Mm-hmm.
kodo mobile after kodola. Bare kodo soto ide la bunko ne sino ngamro ko de sifa mobile after wala.
Yeah.
Bari ini moye do kuofo ika inyo nangam kala nga nyinke. At the end of the day, iko paretale I mean for imo kai. Woka mfana ila after kala time always, woka ke bakel sakonda mechi tiol mela ngo katika ba mechi do kuola. So nyanda nga hakilo tuoto bake. Ni afo mole nyami ataye woke. Because nyande
Yeah.
komodos binaja ka fo yoko satisfy customer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not satisfied, will never come here. So that word of a man alone, Commodore's law word of a man alone, I
Mm-hmm.
customer dollar sintel at a caller. I molding
Yeah.
because he's satisfied in the first place. Iko maninko la kafoko ni amo dini wol ko ngamuru na kunun tulundula je dia right? So that's that. So that's it. That's the bottom line. So more nyanta I make sure lale momo baduna daoda business o sifa baduna je. I make
Mm-hmm.
sure ye tilling e kalabanti ha boyla ko kono ni minna kodo tabulu ala service on sulata minna
Mm-hmm.
akaye ani afo nyami 100%. It's very important akumada back and you need to stay afloat, stay in business mole
Mm-hmm.
I make sure nini mole mean for what you okay.
So I think what mindset anywhere it at a JB is gonna make you successful.
Yeah,
There's Tonya important tale, but consistency fana important about it because I need
right,
Tonya kata nole kukile. Yeah, jele more me understand is ning ye any more equal dunyo kono I for it.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's easy to know. It's
Right,
body language.
mm-hmm.
Non-verbal communications.
Right,
I'm looking into your face.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But how many times a project or mola and then you keep calling them. You get sort of no found. You call, oh man, can them think that they never reach out before you do it. But again, ntol nakuja malunka dino sambajer. Dino manke fent. Dino mu way of life let. Yalan. Understand like way of life dino nying I will be le put so I principle level. regardless of ibe mundinalto.
Right.
Afuele tonyafo. Ya afuele ko nini mo la hiroke nyanda kila nyama. Ni maka nyama communicate Mario. But
Right.
yes, all those are things. But again, you know, in as much as nga wo kujamal sto, that's the reason why bimbi janka dia. Puruka mol fana fenkeni. But also fana mol minu be cool ke nyanda kila nyami. Ni younger people nka minu for mini alonko like Omar Sao, he's been living abroad but running bunch of good stuff back home in Gunjur. You know, it's been helping organize the birdwatch stuff, running bunch of projects in Gunjur. Mi Alonko, it empowers and develops people back home.
Omar is a very passionate guy.
Exactly. So these are people that I'm going to bring them here because I have so many stories with all these people, where they came from, how they just to sit here to be able to know that they are, you know, doing what they're doing. You are not surprised, but that comes with resilience. But Kadifai wants to be like you before when she grow up. So
Oh,
but again,
afara ba kan afara ba kata kan ne na afara ba salute la no na longa ba kata kan ba kere
yes.
muso tanning fula la afara ndo ga de muso tanning fula.
The reason why Lafaka more record reason for Gunjur base. You know, the base, Gunjur base nying is for business. You know, it's just a short version of it. We try to be a little bit fancy with that. But again, we want to recognize Molminu Be, Mombe Bela Kuolkeka. That is tremendous. Like, it comes with awareness, it comes with, you know, education, not just classroom education, but the mind, how you nourish your mind to think big, and understanding, I can make a change. And also understanding, you did mention about residual income. You know, you like core business, but you're doing things on the side that brings you more income and all of that. I have my final question before I ask, before we conclude today. Wolom Nyunti, building a sustainable business. Dolbe wuluta gunjule Gambia, model wuluta Jammeh and Ibem Falokam. Now, more different eras or different time will be more sotole la sate or to mini alonko mol mi nunca minu consider ko fu folonga fe fangamal wala ko ditio o wato lom ni tape bakilin sto mole na dance ke chucha I don't want and all of that. The black and white TV so do ya antenna sto ya roll, and then, you know, SNA,
Right.
RTS, whatever. But my whole point is, all business Jamal sai wolte kere. I'm when you katarana miro to wati mine katin na wol sifal kafano wala business owning more killing is centered. I think I can explain this better in English. So my whole thing is, the sustainability is important in any business, and the fact that there are people that just would establish a business, if something happens to them, the business dies. If they are there, the business is centered on them. Their phones are ringing nonstop. They cannot even take a vacation. They cannot spend time with family. They don't really create time, which most of us are guilty of that are in the business sector or in certain roles that people really need you. Um, and I've seen that a lot in Gambia. I know that is changing, but again, I think that's a topic that I'm passionate about equally. That how do we build a sustainable business where is a generational wealth? It's not a wealth based on us, or Saos is not in Gambia. The business stops. If I cannot get a hold of Saos, I can't take care of it. Nobody can take care of my business, which is a bad concept. How do we build a solid structure that reassures continuation? Even if we die, like, there is a structure where if we die, then business moves on and helps generations to come, and not allowing that business to kill us in a way that, because it's only 24 hours in the world, brother, and you can only work for 24 hours. If you can do 1 24 hours, you won't survive the other one.
Yeah.
Most seminal can make sure on a business or a continuation or so that handing tolman taraje business on yin se tama nyanta tama la nyami asete la hajo tama ndi mol min fana be jiro ko la
Well,
jam.
to start, Abubakar, you have to separate yourself from your business. You see your business as an entity of itself,
Correct.
and you separate yourself from it. And for continuity,
Mm-hmm.
you will have to employ people because you cannot do all these things. The reason why I'm here, I'm
Mm-hmm.
very comfortable because I have people working for me that I trusted.
Correct.
And I know they have the skill set, they have the
Mm-hmm.
mind, they have everything to do whatever that they're supposed to do. So you should not let your business or whatever in your business revolves only around you. No.
Mm-hmm.
Get people, employ people, and make sure that these people have the skill set to run your business for you. So I think lack of structure, lack of let's say a formal structure
Mm-hmm.
can cause those kind of problems. Like I am the alpha and omega of everything.
Mm-hmm.
People are running their businesses like um, okay, like like a sole proprietor, for instance.
Correct.
It's okay for you to be a sole proprietor, but if your business, let's say, have grown,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to also have people on board,
Yeah.
and these people will help the business to grow.
Yeah.
So even if you are no longer in existence, travel or you passed on, the business will continue.
Correct.
But if the business is just if you do not separate yourself from your business, if you pass on, the business also pass on.
Sometimes if you don't even, you can still be alive and the business collapses because
Yeah,
it's
it
100%
collapses.
just you,
Yeah, because it's just yeah, exactly. It's just you. So it's
Eh,
important to have people that you can work with. I know a lot of us have this fear that people will come into my business, create an avenue for themselves,
and mess it up.
and then I mean somehow embezzles and all the other things. But you just have to make sure that because the problem about some of us that have people working for us, we are not taking care of our employees. You're not supposed to give them everything,
Hmm.
but give them the basic.
Yeah.
Basic that will like basically avoid the other things that they might likely do that will affect the business. I mean, you as the I need to find out I beg you see you have your
Yeah.
financial commitments all over the place. Yeah, I understand. But Nisa Fendi no mola me along ko asaje ko dal okay at least ntanga nyin deserve le.
Hmm.
Akatina le marili bike nyalo ko do ka.
Yeah.
Hadama no kalon siata abika easy. I
Hmm.
have worked with so many people today. I'm not working with them
Hmm.
because sometimes it's a lot harder when you inila fero do ni mi alanko ni mi kanana. Mi
Yeah.
alanko, I be call until when the damage is done. Yes, we'll be okay. But Nimmomo after continuity in business, you cannot do it alone.
And
You
then
have
also,
yeah,
Saus, I think I would just let you come into that again too,
yeah,
because I have a follow up question on that before we wrap up. But it all means all important, but I think that's why we're talking about building structures.
yes.
There are things in life, in business, that's always going to happen. People have to understand and accept those.
Hmm.
You're always going to have employees that's going to leave.
Yeah.
We're all not in the first job that we started, right?
No, no, no.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
But having a structure in place put you in a position where
Hmm.
you don't rely on people as individuals, you
Hmm.
rely on them as a system.
Yes.
Relying on people as a system is just understanding the responsibilities, the
Hmm.
rules, the check and balances, how to mitigate risk, and all of that.
Hmm.
That's why you understand. One
Yeah.
person cannot go to the bank and withdraw cash
Yeah.
or withdraw a check. There has to be multiple layers of security on that.
Right.
That's why you want to make sure if you have a stock of solar panels and all of that, there's someone doing the inventory and understanding that one person does not have the ability to pick anything from there. It goes through layers.
Yeah.
You have to understand that, all right, I have employees that needs to be paid. Someone
Hmm.
is responsible of paying those people who is not me, but
Yeah.
eventually I approve who gets paid.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of structural things that I believe are that comes into play when it comes to that. So
Hmm.
ngamira wo kumaya da bakele
Yeah.
uh, business organ.
Hmm. Yeah. Structure of kumara bakal is very important because structure katina, ika kodoro bondi no nyoto easily.
Hmm.
I am here. I know who to talk to when it comes to my store.
Yeah.
I know who to talk to when it comes to managing the business. I
Yeah.
know who to talk to when it comes to my finances. But
Mhm.
maybe it took time for me to get to that level because I started just me and maybe a
Mhm.
secretary. But today is different. I have other people handling other things. Yes, me, I have grown. But Nimomo ba Kumasila, you can start
Mhm.
all by yourself because I started when I used to clean
Yeah.
myself. I clean my office, I do my stock, I do my things all by myself before other people started coming in.
Mhm.
Because I mean, the more you grow, and then there's a likelihood that you will have to get other people to come and work for you. So that's how it works. So if anybody is going to start, and then you are thinking of the long term,
Mhm.
your focus should be how do I get that long term,
Yeah.
and then consistency is one of it. Like Omar Sawa Yafunyami,
Mhm.
consistency is one of it, and then you know honesty is also very important. Then
Mhm.
you start like that. Then with time, yeah, feel cool. Don't also employ because you are employing for employing sake.
Just
More
that you become boss and then
exactly.
having people work for
Employ
you
because
and you can
you
pay
have the
them.
resources, and the business has grown. It has the capacity to accommodate other people. If
Right.
your business did not reach that level, don't do it. You stay in your business. Make sure you get that growth that you are looking for. By the time you grow, get other people on board, and don't
Mhm.
just stop at that. Keep doing what you're doing. Grow as much as possible. Get more people, and then keep
Mhm.
growing.
And then I think that's very relevant because it goes back to what you said earlier, and that so having the capacity to do things like okay, now community economy most of the time work a the more companies or a business will start. Business or my income of on stuff or they are employing secretaries, they are taking loans from the bank, buying
Mhm.
cars, putting license plate on cars, SAOS 1, SAOS 2, SAOS 3, and all. All right,
But
I'm
it
kidding.
all
SAOS
boils
did not
down.
do SAOS for record. SAOS did not do that. I'm
No, I
messing.
mean,
Uh, but
it,
but
it all boils down to financial literacy.
yes,
These
but
guys have that. I think so.
I want to follow up with a question on that.
Hmm.
Um, two things that are very, very important to know. And I think you are in a very perfect situation to answer this question.
Right.
Gambia is very small.
Hmm.
We all know each other somewhere, somehow. In
Hmm.
America, here, I tell people when I meet them and they ask about a Gambia, and I'm like, Gambia is a very small country.
Right.
So even if you don't know somebody and you talk to them for just 5 minutes,
Hmm.
you will have a connection some way,
Right.
somehow.
Hmm.
Either you know somebody that they know or their cousin. That's how small it is.
Right.
Um, and I knowing that that means people gonna be somehow related,
Right.
either directly or indirectly,
Hmm.
and that brings in a lot of sentiments, a lot of personal emotions, a lot of family ties
Hmm.
into the mess up with our business.
Hmm.
You as an individual, I have known so many of your childhood friends that you still are extremely close with.
Hmm. Hmm.
Some were part of your business, some were not. But you
Hmm.
still have a lot of cordial social interactions with those people.
Hmm.
You still have tons of people that you do business with
Hmm.
that are not family, that are not childhood friends, that
Right.
you don't hang out with.
Hmm.
It's hard to see someone who was able to do both the same time
Hmm.
and be successful
Yeah.
because it's just a different thing.
Hmm.
The mindset of a businessman is different from a mindset of a businessman in
Hmm.
their social setting.
Right.
In that case, there is always this overlap where people who are your personal friends
Hmm.
expect stuff
Hmm.
in a different way.
Yeah.
People who are business ones expect certain level of standard. How are
Hmm.
you able to navigate through both? Where I wanted to say this in Mandinka too, ko your business owning family and in your long or yeah separate no nyadile, and you did not really lose yourself in it. Amela
Hmm.
hadamaya tinya, Amela business concepts tinya, ila
Hmm.
consistency and all of that.
Hmm.
What do you think a young guy coming up who has a bunch of families and all of that, and they're doing a business that those families probably need their service? How
Yeah.
are you able to navigate and still be successful?
Well, it's very simple. In my business environment, I'm a businessman. So if you come to him as a friend for business, we talk strictly business. But when I'm out of my business environment, I'm just one of the guys. So that's what I do, and I don't go out there um, display some sort of a status. No, I am that simple guy that you know since time immemorial, and then that's it. We tag along. But when I'm in my business setting, it's different. I make it formal. I make it strictly business. So, and I always make sure that that part of me will not be in any way shown or
Mm.
seen when I'm dealing with my folks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just it. You know,
And
you just stay humble. You know.
and I think that's relevant. So, in other words, you encouraging folks to really um, be able to understand when it's business and
Mhm.
stand your grounds.
Yeah.
And even if people don't like that, that's okay. People have to understand. People don't have to like you.
No, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you have to be okay with
Okay.
that. I can hang
Yeah,
out
it's
and chill
okay.
with. I, I'm doing this strictly for business and all of that. You don't like that? That's totally fine with me. Me,
Yeah.
man, like we all or anything. In fact, when
Mhm.
we see, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, that's okay. Not
So
everybody
we
can
have
like
to
it.
understand that
Mhm.
okay, people, not everybody is gonna understand your mindset
Mhm.
and where you're driving at, but eventually, sometimes once you get there, they understand.
Oh
Because
yes.
when they go, okay, this is the reason why he's doing what he's doing. I'm sure you've met so many people that once they have a cool conversation with you in a different setting, they'll
Mhm.
be like, "Oh, I made them new musical, but
Oh
you're
yes.
high school and all of that,
Yeah.
because you hear so many things." I just wanted to reference my cousin or Abu Hafsa,
Mhm.
Ali Jane.
Mhm.
Um, it's so hard for me to stay in touch. I'm just so incredibly proud of this dude.
Mhm.
He is he's just so much hardworking. We kept in touch since he was a kid. I'm way
Mhm.
older than him. Um, and then I believe one of these reasons why I always wanted to get back on this kind of discussions and all of that is just because you're able to reach out to so many people
Mhm.
using one platform and reaching out to so many people that
Right.
you really don't have the time to stay in touch on a daily basis on a
Mhm.
personal conversation level. So um, if the producer can put in a few of those comments up, we will read those, and I'll have my final questions for you, and then we'll call it a day. It's Saturday. I
Yeah.
hope the weather is nice wherever you're at.
Mhm.
Not really nice where I am at right now. So if
But
the
here it's not too bad. I think we have about 6 degrees today, so it's not too bad.
isn't it crazy? Sometimes at certain point in your life, you just value so many other little things that we took so much
Oh
for
yes,
granted.
took
And
for granted. Yeah,
talking about the weather.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So if the producer, if you will put up a couple of few of the comments that we have, so we can wrap up here really quick. In the meantime, before the producer puts um, the comments up, I would get into this final question here.
Okay.
Who got you united? You just been so famous with Saos, and all of that. Now, I told your childhood name to one of the guys, and then they don't even know who I'm talking. But because they know Saos. But before you answer to that, I would. We have Mumina B. Great discussion from the both of you. 100% very much needed to be heard by us, the young adults. Thank you.
Mhm.
We appreciate that comment. Badra Bajo, aka the director of is Gunjur environmental activist. Um, he says congratulations and good, well done, good job, well done, Mr. Barrow, and thank you, Mr. Jammeh. We appreciate you following Big Yanks, Yakuba Manjang. That's a very good question. Continuity, sustainability is very important in business. There are businesses here in West which were established more than a century ago, and they are all still continuing. Those businesses create employment opportunities for many people.
Yeah.
That's the reality. You see so many businesses, people don't even know those businesses are a family name.
Mhm.
You see Sam's Club in the US, that's a family, that's a
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
You see so many. Ford Motors
Mm-hmm.
was created by Henry Ford.
Mm-hmm.
You drive those Ford, that's someone's family name.
Mm-hmm.
And Amadou Jesus Sankule says, watching from Gunjur, Domung. Shout out my brother, Sir Ousman Barrow, and host Abubacarr Jammeh. Thanks so much for following Jesus. Usman Barrow, I've not seen you in a long time, brother. This is a very important program, guys. Please keep it up. Thank you so much. We appreciate Usman for shaping a lot of young kids' lives. He was an educator. I'm not sure if he's still in that field, but taught so many kids, and those are things that we are so proud of when we talk about.
So to your question, yeah.
Yeah,
So this SARS thing started at junior school. So
I don't
maybe,
know. It's that long though.
yeah, maybe yeah, you would not remember. There used to be this Quranic teacher called Mr. Jabang. Jabang used to live in Janekotokunda, just by the
Was
hospital.
it Javan by the primary school? Bobo's dad or no?
No, no, no. This is Jabang. He just lived close to the hospital.
Okay,
Hospital like just before Janekotokunda.
I
Jane.
didn't go to primary or
Oh yeah, he didn't go to
secondary
primary
school,
school.
so I
Yeah,
don't know
right,
none of
right.
those people.
Yeah, so I mean, back then we used to read like every every chronic lesson we used to read. So I used to be his favorite guy who reads for him. He liked me reading for him.
Was that in the English school?
Yeah, no, no, no.
Okay.
Yes, it was in the English school, but there's an Arabic text in
Ang bengin
English.
bengin po mengadama ni kakao
Okay,
dia.
okay, okay. So junior school lo musonga ustaso dolo so daga fa ustas jaba. So nteketa molde mi along ko aka like le dinga reading guy. So none of the class wado wade aka funyi reading Kenya. So
Mhm.
ninga reading guy ataka explain nka me read. So saying he became fond of me. So California, Sir Usman. He was like, basically proud of me. So California, Sir Usman. So Sir Usman say, the guys they picked it up, Sir Usman until you know.
It's strange that ko another through that lela. So ila fa fule ko ila Arabi ila arwana karan skills in yung ngame Arabi school fa
No,
brama.
it wasn't Arabic. It was actually in English text.
Oh, so you take a read
There
later
are
than
like
translate.
stories about the prophets and all that. Sometimes I will read, he likes my reading.
Mhm.
So, akita wala niya. That's how I started wala niya. I didn't follow Kumasa California. He gave me that. He knighted me if that if that's how
I was
so.
gonna say, man, I know go 2 years ago we met in the UK.
Yeah.
I just didn't know for the you just use the opportunity put a night jam or not.
Yeah.
So
So I started on niya. So Ndongolia pick it became a street thing. Then para now continue the kali. I mean,
yeah, the last time I was looking at your phone number, and then it was like one was I couldn't find your phone number. Then I put Sir Usman Barrow, and then it was but hey,
yeah.
brother, just so proud of you, what you're doing, and continue to do that. But I think
Thank
the bigger part of things that we're doing right now is we're not getting younger, man. The little that we know, and we continue to learn stuff. I
you.
think it's
Yes.
relevant to continue to share
Right.
those with
Mm-hmm.
people
Mm-hmm.
that we don't even have any relationship with, that we don't have no contact with. Reality of life is we're not gonna have time that we had when we were a kid. It's
No.
just never gonna happen. So
No.
it's
No.
just a
No. No.
matter of accepting it, but just again, how to reinvent ourselves, just like
Yeah.
the business
Because it's
people
different
do.
now. We are fathers. We are husbands. We are
We
uncles.
yeah,
So,
we have to create things, and then thanks to technology that it's
mhm.
possible that people we can play our role to
Oh
really
yes.
motivate.
Yeah.
And then again, I think one big part is that a lot of people, even this happened with early travelers. Most people follow need travel. It takes them so many years before they're even back home.
Hmm.
Not because they couldn't. But
Right.
that was not a thing before because you're expected to go back home if you met certain status in level of success, if
Yeah.
you like, in life. But now things have changed, and
Yeah. A lot have
people are
changed.
moving around. People are learning new things, and
Right.
but a lot of people back in the day, even if they travel, what they didn't have was mentorship. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people, I would want to bring a topic on that someday on this platform about
Mm-hmm.
the importance of mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, Molkanale, you go to a place that you don't know nobody, or I've even seen that here in America. Like people just come and you know the host takes them to a job. Everyone end up working at that job because
Mm-hmm.
that's all they know, right? Because that's what they know.
Yeah.
Luckily, in our time, we're lucky to meet brothers here and sisters and families, cousins that have been here for so long.
Mm-hmm.
They helped you navigate through some of the things. So we appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to know that. So
Right.
younger people that are under us, these are a way of reaching out to say, hey, if you want to connect, you want mentorship, you want some ideas on things, let's talk. Either through this or you want to connect directly. And I believe and I encourage a lot of people like us out there just to make themselves available and mentor younger ones. And because they've probably not been exposed to things that we've been exposed to. And, sharing that, it just makes our communities and our societies better.
Right.
There's something there's enough for everyone out there in this world.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
And, I don't care. I don't envy
So I'm
nobody.
going.
I'm not jealous of
I'm going to
nobody.
wrap up. Yeah, I'm going to wrap up in Mandinka and
Yeah.
Dumba for now for Ndole wala unkoto dole me unko iba business or miracle.
Yeah.
Lafte nga kukil na understand nga koronto bon na kuo kono.
Hmm.
Momo lafta ye succeed la business wala. We lafta no min kela koronto bondi la kuo kono. Koronto ate ka tinale inyanta futal da bika futaji andi la tinyaro kasia. So koronto boila kuo kono ni jita feo wa andi man idea sodoje. Mol mi ya lon ko ya isobita ko ya idea sodoje. Inyinenka ya fo ya ale ya nyinke no nyaade because lafta kake.
Hmm.
Ngalo ne som iba futala modo la maybe ta bolo e nyoto ila ta bolo e nyoto nyame. Tumando bije sign thing ni mari tara school. Hani chat GPT or AI or Google ni tara auto sign. Information or bije so that information about stolen.
Hmm.
It's an information sort of just about Gambia form as a country itself. Ni lafa fenkelaji. Ila lafa any information about it. So ila due diligence research ke kisi roke yela kol be put together yela kol be put together dunja na mo dunda business solo kana je ko kodol ko siari bule ko do beta ya be ke business kilin do kana o nim business on na capital solo ta 50,000 lela 25,000 da ma yela 25,000 dollars do amuta de no 25,000 dundi ya jibe business solo kol batala nyadi andum comme nga fa nyamen kana koronto pour mo le afugo kala ka nyenge o kala nyinno no kana koronto wala min nyanta kumala ya min kumata ba wolo ko nanyin business o aba yiri wa no nyadi le always nga start with that mindset ko business o min lafta kumasla mba yiri wa na ba yiri wa no nyadi le ayinte na fa ay na mol na fa nta fanan sa mol na fa noje
Hmm.
nga try o mindset nga o use always nimba duna feo fe kono because all ba ma ko la backway mol bi da kan backway yes aba ke kande mo be lafta kanati ba abuja but ba abuja sometimes na kunyimal ngawle tan dialla de na manere ngol fengol mi yalon ko dal min kan jikilate ndi jam bi ko fali so I don't understand ko jam jam manke pour molti min yalon ko lamfuta imbanko manke modi mi yalon ko lamfuta
Hmm.
alle su na kunta man tafika burno mo kan aye ma ko jamo be kake jamo be ka mo ma ko
Hmm.
jamo be mo be so jar malo
Yeah.
survival of the fittest because ni man tara wonya ni mo mentality soro ni me lo be la banda because ila bon ni ma joy ke funtinde fengo do bi ni me joy bi ke access no ali sui ko lo manage no ntol mo jama bi yembi ka bunjo ne man bunjo lo ku lo because nga tara ngam bulita ngam faltar la de bunkon so ngalle la bungol kon so man ta jam fan la ka dandi jandro nim momo jina jam fana se pare isa lon ko aman sonea koronto ngo bonna ko kon na fulo o kodo abika soto suta kilin momin be kodo soto Oprah Winfrey yala yala proposal do reject le because he's unfit for TV, but B she's a billionaire. KFC meantime KFC I rejection jamal le soto, but B is also a billion. Even Elon Musk I ala Tesla and ala SpaceX I isu jamal le soto, but today I mean he is a multi-billionaire. So need be takes time. So more la time ta and non kana mecho tuje because mecho bati na la moy do ko keno fongo ye fon balundi no itarola. Isa kolsoro mi alon ko hani government do ko lata stop. Mecho like welding no into electrical yellow plumbing no mecho mu feo fenti. Hani kata farming. At least gunjur nga most of me alon ko they are young farmers. Alhamdulillah, Rabbi, they are doing very well. They personally, I'm very proud of them. And all the other they skills will acquire. You better do call like a bulola and order. So nga try for funding kilo nga dunu wo kusifal fananto. Not just kata school dama. Ni mo hon bita kan school. Ni sa ni skill samba no nyola wa. Like if bita kan school, ani welding samba nyola. If bita kan school, ani computer literacy or whatever sambanyola. If you can school and in electrical funko wa sambanyola. Ni jida. Nima white collar jobs or either in the banks or the insurance and the other institutions siman do ko soto. Ila o skill emin soto abe balundi lale. Jani do ko bina mi alan ko lafta minna. O jani bina altibabdu. And altibabdu jam ni was skill so nada is an added advantage for you. Pro do ko so is easy. Pro fam balundi is easy because ni all dollo ni nada jam pro fam balundi is easy. So mba dan na janne Nsafo Abubacarr Nila Timo Behala Baraka Bake. I mean, it's an honor, Canadian, to talk to my fellow young people. Kaitandila ko, I don't know the day there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So ka katalomu, this world is not built for lazy people. Ka katalomu, and no more kana discourage ko more kanyina for more kanyina for. Stay focused on the goal, and then you keep going. Allah Baraka Bake.
Baraka bake sa os ya bere fodo and then I think I kumole fomini anko kumaya da bake nga anko nga fon na programo do ko nindi nol kata karambo ngota fa ite imanya na ke badu ka fo gombe mechol kan bita kan high school istara no high school le tara do ko ngolla wala soma ko ne kate skill long future wolom samat I nga wo fo molela ni nata jang ni nata tuab du iba jela ko mol mine skill karang dobje ka 2 year technical college da malake wala ka kodo sto model mi ango master's degree be so and then again it's good wala atin ko mbina program o samara jam maybe mimbe kala mentorship because work on se kujamal discuss no mi alonko courses or dolby j and maybe in 5 years 10 years world they will be redundant the amount importance dollar follow the banks nyol ka stele for 7 8 pour que la banco et la books nyol close ka balance at the end of the day now banks more because most of the banks I don't know Gambia tal hansai more ka siya jele but technology be all falling the can it's just a click of a button have a book of a balance lay and you're good so that means if you want to study accounting in 5 years, maybe that's not a good field to study. You want to do something that's going to be better because technology is going to do those things for you. And then maybe the opportunities in those areas going to be slim. But that will conclude it wherever you're following us from. I definitely appreciate Sir Ozzy coming on the show. This is Gunjur based on Gunjur Online. Thanks for following us. We'll be bringing you more interesting programs and more topics. You can send us your suggestions and all of that. If you have any topic that you want us to talk about, I will be more than glad to match people with the same expertise to talk about that. Your valuable contributions. We truly appreciate those. We really intended this to be an interactive one, and indeed, it's been a very, very interactive program. Until we come your way again, you have yourself a great rest of the weekend. From me, Abubacarr Jammeh on Gunjur Base, Gunjur Online. You have a good one.